What will sometimes haunt my dreams still is just like a general feeling of morose anxiety.
Everyone experiences a version of anxiety or worry in their lives.
I don't know why I opened up and talked about it, but I guess I was just sick and tired of just having it inside of me for 20 plus years, and I was ready to make a change.
What helped me the most, that I want to impress upon all of you, is that I realized that part of my identity is saying no to things I don't want to do. And you are all in school, and you all have a lot of teachers and a lot of people around you that tell you all day what you have to do, but it is your right to choose what you do and don't do. It is your right to choose what you believe in and what you don't believe in. It is your right to curate your life and your own perspective.
We all go through things. We all go through struggles, right? There's probably everybody in this room that goes through struggles the same exact way, and I think that's what we all have to realize. It's just something that every single person goes through.
And maybe we go through it in a different or more intense way for longer periods of time, but there's nothing wrong with you. To be a sensitive person that cares a lot, that takes things in a deep way, is actually part of what makes you amazing.
I also struggled a lot with anxiety and depression. If you start to feel like you are twisting things around you, and you start to feel like there is no sunlight around you, and you are paralyzed with fear, here's how you can help yourself.
First, you have to understand what anxiety is, and you have to understand the connection between worry, which is something we all do, and self-doubt, which is something we all do, and anxiety. Anxiety is what happens when your habit of worrying spirals out of control. It's important for you to foundationally understand that anxiety and worry are the same thing. It's just that your body starts to get agitated, and that's when we call worrying anxiety. Your heart races. You might sweat a little bit. You might feel tightening in your chest. You might feel a pit in your stomach. You have a surge of cortisol. You can actually beat it. This is how you're going to do it. So all day long, you're going to have moments where your thoughts drift. Like you'll just be hanging out with your friends, and then suddenly you're like, I'm not sure that person likes me anymore. I haven't heard from my kids lately. I wonder if they're dead, or, like you just start worrying about stuff. Why? Because it's a habit. Because when you're not paying attention, your brain shifts from you being a decision maker and paying attention to you just kind of spinning things on autopilot, and one of your habits is worrying. The second you wake up and you notice, holy cow, I'm talking some negative garbage to myself right now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You've just shifted the part of the brain. You've shifted from the basal ganglia, which is where your habit loops are spinning, and you've awakened your prefrontal cortex. You've also interrupted that pattern. Now what you're going to do, because your mind is actually ready to receive a different thought because of the counting, now you can put in an anchor thought. Like if you have a mantra, if you've got a vision about the way that your business is going to turn out in 5 years, if you just have a thought that makes you really happy and proud, insert that. Now, why does this work? It works because of the counting. And I'm not kidding. We know, based on research, that positive thinking alone, not effective. In some instances, trying to force yourself to think positive can actually make the worries worse. Why? Well, the reason why is because it's really hard to just change the channel. What we have to do first is basically interrupt it and turn off the TV, and then turn it back on with the prefrontal cortex awakened. So the counting is essential. And so you can start using this today.
Right now in America, symptoms of depression are 3 times higher than before the pandemic. As the world reopens, it's important to raise awareness about mental health struggles and to invest in resources for more community and educational support. If you or a loved one are struggling, please know that there are resources to help. Whether it be talking to a therapist, finding a support group, or even just talking to a loved one, these first steps will help in more ways than one. There's a hotline you can call if you feel like you need help. Call 800-500-NAMI, or if you feel like you're in a crisis, text NAMI to 741-741. You are not alone, and remember that the world is more beautiful with you in it.
You've got to reevaluate and attack life again, and it's tough, it's hard. You know, it's like being knocked back almost. Even though you're successful, it's like being pushed back again.
Yeah, whether you win or you lose, the depression still sets in, right?
Yeah.
The number of teens, Gen Zers, 20-somethings suffering from depression and anxiety and loneliness. Loneliness is through the roof. This is one of the biggest issues that they're dealing with on college campuses. We rise to our maximum potential when we're of service to others. Going back to anxiety, going back to depression, going back to loneliness, I truly believe that's the answer. That's the way out of any kind of mental illness. It's like, I want to make myself a better person. I want to make the world a better place. And everything that I'm doing, I've got these 2 chariots, and I'm going down this road, or I'm going down this road, or I'm going down both together.
I've been there a lot in my life, especially before my car accident, my teenage years. Then the first woman I ever loved, we had a big breakup, and that breakup sent me down into depression and suicidal planning. And it's tough to dispense advice to people other than get help. And I'll share why. Because that time in my life, I had so many people coming up to me. You know, my friends would come into my dorm room, and Brendon, let's go do something. And the hope is lost. And what people, I think, make the mistake of trying to do is hype people up. Everything's gonna be okay, you're gonna be great. And what people need who are suicidal is serious psychological intervention. They need to seek support and help. And outside of that, when they do get that support, the first thing a great therapist is going to do, outside of the emotional reflection work of why are you here and what has caused this sort of pattern for you, they're going to get you starting to get some momentum. The most important thing is when you are super down, outside of finding that emotional reasoning for where you are, is to start getting momentum. Because with momentum comes hope. With momentum comes motivation. With momentum comes that feeling that there's a reason for tomorrow. And so it's as simple as just saying, okay, what are 3 things I'm gonna do today? And I don't mean that like a lot of personal development guys would say, like, what are your 3 big goals for the day? Arr! I'm like, dude, sometimes that first goal is, I'm gonna shower today. I'm really gonna shower today. I'm gonna walk to the library. I'm gonna come home. And that's all they got. Like literally, that's all they got. And you gotta honor that struggle when you're in that place. Like, know that where you're at, it is okay that you're there, and now you're gonna need help, and now you're gonna have to set up some daily practices just every day, win a little bit. Not like win your dreams, not like crush through goals, not like be a badass, not like, no, just momentum, man. You know, most of the guys I've dealt with in that position who were suicidal, outside of their therapeutic work, I said, the most important thing you can do is win the morning. I don't want to ever be flippant with the advice to people who are dealing with that situation outside of get some help, get some momentum, and be okay if that momentum is really small. because it will build. Trust that that momentum builds, and trust that those gloomy and bad, dark days, trust that those are going to be there. They'll get less and less and less as you learn how to cope, but they're gonna be there. And so when they're there, it's one of outside of teaching people to bring the joy in my life, I teach people to honor the struggle. Honor the difficulty. When we honor the struggle instead of hate the struggle, we can really achieve extraordinary things because our mindset's in the right place. As soon as you honor the struggle, you accept that, oh, of course, there should be struggle here. I should honor this process. When you go to the gym to work out, you honor that this is gonna be hard, and honor that process of getting better. And the more that you bring honor to it, the more your psyche builds with strength, and you get a little bit of that esteem back because you see yourself engaging something versus avoiding it and running away. You see yourself connecting with something and giving it reverence. You're like I have reverence for the difficulties of life. They may be better. So I don't want a friction-free life. I'm not interested in it. You know, I like to say sometimes that, you know, the journey to greatness begins the moment that our, you know, deep desires for comfort and ease are overpowered by our desires to connect and contribute.
You know, when there are really hard times, there are so many tools that you can use to help yourself in those times, and it does get better and easier as life goes on and you start to get to know yourself more and what will trigger certain instances of anxiety and where you feel comfortable and safe. So I would just say, don't ever feel like you're a weirdo for it, because we're all weirdos.